then I'm like, okay, well, but I always have a Dharma talk in me. No, I do. I have a Dharma talk in me because I'm minute by minute by minute trying to walk out what I know. And what I say, I hold to be true. And what I say that I believe in, what I know I'm failing miserably at and need so much practice that I have to look at it constantly. And, we don't have to work on the tough things. The show up every single day, the ones that we talk about every single day that we're working on, like, and you know what? I just got rid of that thing. I just took care of that. Every single day, we say that same thing. If you're the go-to person for bad news, then you have to think about why that is. Why you're the one. Why you're the go-to person. If somebody is always coming to me, giving me the good news or the inspiration, then I know my cultivation is where it should be. Because I'm zinging in that vibratory field, and I'm attracting that, and so it's not, and this is not to be a denigration of anything and anybody. It's like to answer a question, why me? Why does this always happen to me? Or why do people always come to me? Or why is it always like this in my life? Or what happened, someone came and talked to us this past week, and there've been wonderful, 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 opportunities, but something seems to always go wrong. And she said, something just happened. I don't want to be like, basically a victim of the same thing happening. I said, well, then you can't blame me for whatever went wrong with that, but if it keeps happening and you're the common denominator, I said, Panyadeva said that you might just need to look at yourself, uh, and so we have to be willing to do that, to be willing to look at ourselves. And as we are, we find more ease in walking this path. We find a capacity to hold it, to love it, to live it. We find a way of being with each other that's accommodating. I had a person who talked to me, and she said, now, in a community, there are requirements for a community. She said they have to be able to get along with each other, But she was the only one that couldn't get along with anybody. And so I knew there was no point in even trying to take that dialogue anywhere. I said, yeah, you're right. I see your point. Thank you for sharing, because that's where it was. There was nothing I could say to her, But the one that I can say something to, because I know they have the capacity here, but not only the capacity, I know that they have the desire. The desire. Then that's the one you give your time and your attention to. That's the one you give your energy to. There's going to be a whole lot of people grabbing for your time and your attention. It wasn't a Buddha master, but it was a brother Vince. He said, don't practice no use Dharma. He said, just don't practice no use Dharma. Don't waste your time. And I think about the years. I can't say that they've been wasted, all of the years, because yes, maybe I gave something for the sake of the Dharma. And yes, I gave something to people, but I have to remember that they also gave to me. Unless you have somebody, that allows these things to come through, they stay beneath the surface. They can't flower, can't open. The bud, I have some plants that they cut for me, and some of those are not going to open now because we've cut them at a place where they're not going to be able to, they won't get the nutriment that they need to finish fully developing. You understand what I mean? So they're gonna die before they ever even open. Others will open, but they may open a little bit, and some will open fully. And that's how it is in the family of the awakened ones. Some right now, some later, but always just keep looking, keep holding on. When I say holding on, I don't mean like when something comes up and like I'm holding on. But holding on means holding to what you know to be true from your own direct experience and what you believe to be true based on the direct experiences that you already had. And then he says, and if you haven't had any, then rely on those that you believe have some wisdom, those that you believe are what we would call wise ones. A lot of times with Panya Deepa, I would come home and he'd say, you look a little bit frustrated. And I'd say, I am. He said, let me know when you want me to handle that for you. You know, he was never overcome by anything. You know, it was just manageable. And if it wasn't manageable or usable, he laid the axe to it. He got rid of it. He said, well, the difference between me and you, Panyawadi, is that when I don't want to do something, or I think a person's not going to respond in the way that's needed for there to be change, he said, I don't pick it up. That's all. That's all. Conditions are not right. He said, you pick it up talking about, I know this is going to hurt, but nevertheless, he said, so we don't bring that home. Don't bring that to the hermitage. But it was wonderful to speak that way to me because it helps you to be able to keep your own vow. When you make a vow, you know, and you're going to make vows today, but these aren't vows that you're making to other people. These are vows that you're making to yourself. I vow this and I vow that. You're making a vow to yourself. What you will do and what you won't do. And when you keep your vow, because these are all good ones, when you keep the vow, it helps other people. It benefits other people. And when you don't keep your vow, you know, it either brings hardship or turmoil in your life or in somebody else's life. And if we look at cause and condition and we want things to be better in our life, then we need to keep our vows. Now, there's so many vows we have not kept already that to catch up would be virtually impossible. So what we might think and how we might hold our minds so that we just won't like say there's no point. So like if we used to have I had a saying, if you're going to go to hell, don't tippy toe, just go all out, you know, whatever you want to do, like just do it hard, you know. But if you know that in the past, you have not met your own great expectation, then he tells us something that we can do. He gives us some encouragement about how to look at it. And it's not by exchanging. If I did something bad yesterday, I'll do something good today. You know, or if I treated you bad, I'll treat you good today. You know, it's not like that. But it's by building that wall. Know when you're laying that mortar and when you're laying those cinder blocks, you know, of good works that build, that keep that rush of consequence from hitting. And perhaps you'll have enough time, even in this very life, to get enough wisdom, enough confidence, enough renunciation to be able to be a non-returner. I tell you the truth, it scares me to think about coming back to this world. I mean, there was some in the Buddha's day when he gave one line. Not even when he did it, when one of his disciples did, are you his disciple? Not even when one of his disciples did, but when somebody else who heard one of the disciples heard the Buddha say something, heard one line, one stanza of something, they were awakened because there was a charge, there was a power to it, and there was a realization that was there that enabled them to enter into it and to ride on the wave of their words. And I think something has been lost in these thousands of years. But we're here. We still have hope. We can take up the path. And the more we do, sometimes we want to do more than we have the capacity to do. I'm feeling that way. There's more I want to do today. But I may not have the capacity today. You can practice all you want. And even with all your practice, then comes the truth of the moment. And then you just have to be there with that, right? But you know that you gave your best. And when you know that, you can rest in it. When you're not sure, when you get a little shaky, well, you get a little shaky anyway, but I mean, when you get a little shaky about whether you're sure, that's what I mean, then you have reason to question. When you know that you know, then you can be at peace with whatever arises, whatever arises. A lot of things are going to arise in your life, a lot of challenges. Those who you thought would support you, don't. Those who you thought were your friend, aren't. And if you want to know what a friend is, you can just Google Buddhist definition of a friend. I mean, we don't have to talk about a lot of these things. You can find it on the internet now. And when you think you're being a friend, Google that same thing. And then you know if you are or not. And if you find that you thought you were, but you're not, just handle it. When I say just handle it, I mean, no need for the flagellation. Just if you thought that was right and you found out that it wasn't, do what you think is right now. If it turns out not to be right either, you better keep laying those blocks. That's what they're for. Just keep laying those blocks. And your practice will support you. This is not rocket science. Actually, this is very simple. But there's a basis, and I am closing. There's a basis upon which we walk out this life, and that is virtue. We have no lack of exploits in the world today. I mean, man has developed the ability to do extraordinary things, but our heart's not always right. And that's where we have to go back and retool. When we do that, some things will no longer make because they don't serve any purpose for the kind of enlightened society we want to live in. We no longer make certain things. Doesn't mean that it'll be a perfect world. It never will be. If you're looking for perfection, you won't find it. Not in this world. He said you got to go to another one for that. You won't find that here. But you something to make it better. That's the best that you can do. A little something to make it better. And if you decide that you've had enough of this, then there are other worlds to explore. Many, many, many galaxies we're discovering. And if you don't believe any of it, that's okay too. Yeah. Just know what you believe and hold fast to your own confession of faith. So we'll have the recitation of the Dharmacharya vows, and you'll find them. I do want to say that if you are seated in the Sangha today and you wish to take some of these, you may, along with us, but only take the ones that you really intend to live, because it's not a good thing to take a vow that you have no intention to keep. It's a solemn oath when one takes a vow. Yes, they take it to themselves, but they take it before the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions. And every day they live their lives according to these vows. Even if you're in the Dharmacharya and you can't step into, I'm going to say 1 or 2, but if you're at 3, you need to see me afterwards. Seriously. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I vow to practice all good. I vow to abandon all evil. I vow to actually do good for living beings. I vow to avoid killing. I vow to avoid taking what is not given. I vow to avoid sensual misconduct. I vow to not abuse intoxicants. I vow to avoid false speech. I vow to avoid harsh speech. I vow to avoid malicious speech. I vow to avoid useless speech. I vow to avoid slander and gossip. I vow to not harbor ill will, insult, or abuse others. I vow not to broadcast misdeeds of others. I vow to not praise self at the expense of others. I vow not to be miserly or encourage others to withhold generosity. I vow to not hold grudges or refuse to listen to apologies offered. I vow to cultivate a mind of mercy, compassion, and filial piety. I vow to not cause others to abandon their vows. I vow to not withhold sharing the Dharma with those who are without a protector. I vow to help people earn merit and achieve happiness. I vow to not support and spread sectarianism, causing schism in the Sangha. I vow to not claim or boast about true accomplishments, but remain humble. We're going to do only the robe at the very end of the program. So we'll do Unbroken Vow and then present the graduates. Did I just sit this down? No, I just sit it down and turn it off. Thank you. I already clicked the button, so that's why I'm putting it back. Thank you. Obtaining a human body is difficult. Death and impermanence are imminent. Samsara is suffering, but true Dharma is available now. Don't squander your life. Tell me the truth, I want to know. Just where to look and how to go. I need to find true peace. I need to understand. Bring my suffering to an end. Release the love I hold inside. Let me be true and never hide behind a face of fear or animosity. To break the chains of misery. How to let go and just be free. The time is now, it's destiny. Surrender now that I have found a way to keep somehow more than a broken vow. Let me always forever be. Always forever be. On one accord, truth and me. Truth and me. Abiding in sweet grace, the glow upon my face. Victorious to win the race. How to let go and just be free. The time is now. It's destiny. Surrender now that I have found a way to keep somehow more than a broken vow. The noble path, I walk it every day, and then I realize there's more to life than only bitterness and lies. I close my eyes. I found the way, the course that leads to ease, a liberating path that truly frees. I found the way, a course that leads to ease, a liberating path that frees. I will let go, I will be free. The way it's clear, the victory. How to let go now that I have found a way to keep right now. A true, unbroken vow. Obtaining a human body is difficult. Death and impermanence are imminent. Samsara is suffering, but true Dharma is available now. Don't squander your life. even. Okay, so how are they gonna get off? Good. Thank you so much. They've been wonderful to me today. I don't have to read the poly names. I will have to read them. Okay. We'll see how this is going today. Okay. I'm ready. Well, then I should stand up.
Righty. So, what will happen now is our ordinees will come forward um, while as they are pinned and walk across to receive their certificate. I'll share with you the statement of intent, the statements of intent that they each have written, and then Panyawati will give them their names. George Beecher, George writes, "My intention is to always learn and embody the Dharma with a fresh mind, guided by the question, what's the most generous thing I can do in this moment?"
George, your name is Kantu Abati, and it means the forbearing one.
Charles Berry, and Charles' intention, I go forth with an open heart and clear mind, embracing the Buddha Dharma as it shows itself to me in life.
Charles, your name is Amsu, and it means ray of light.
Chaim Brisky, who says, may I be a fitting conduit for the Dharma, sensitive and responsive to the needs of the moment and those I encounter, so that I may serve as a resource and refuge.
Chaim, you know why I named you this. Remember our last conversation? So your name is Hasajaya, and it means the laughter of the victorious.
Warren Buck, Warren's intention, teach what I know what I teach, create a container for those in need, reach for the galaxies.
One's always asking me, what realizations have I had, or what is it you always asking me? What insights, maybe? Insights. What insights? And so every time we get together, we talk about something. And so I named you Bana Takama. It means truly desirous to know.
Noel Clark. In her statement, I go forth in continuing to lift the veils that keep me from truly seeing. May my efforts help to create a world where generosity, joy, and freedom abound.
Noel, I named you Sora Davy, Courageous Deva. Remember our last conversation? Your time is what I'm saying. It's your time.
Tim Crumley.
No, it takes hours and hours and hours to come up with these Dharma names. They're not just names. When I was going through my African thing, they just said there's so many y'all on Sunday, your name is this. On Monday, if you're born on Monday, it's this. If you're born on Tuesday, it's this. But we take time to try to have some insight into each person's life. And it's a setup, right?
Tim's intention. Moving forward, my aim is to reach one arm up to be pulled by those ahead of me and all the rest of my limbs stretched back to pull those behind.
And that's why his name is Daso, seeing and understanding.
Timothy Davis. Timothy's intention, may I be an instrument of the Dharma, transmitting the tune the moment decides, so that all I encounter might hear and harmonize.
Timothy calls or emails all the time and asks, is there anything you need? Is there something I can do? Or can I come early, and help do something? Just always. So I named him Ativa Datu, and it means the most generous one.
Angela Dews. Oh, with an edit. Angela's statement, my aspiration is to love like Panyadipa taught. My intention is to be free and to connect wholeheartedly with the way things are, like Panyawati teaches me.
Angela and I have those conversations that I don't want to have. And so she doesn't know what that means. But, Angela is so lovely. And I decided to name her not only lovely, but lovely and beloved.
Heather Furco. Heather's intention, I go forth to continue the cultivation of nekama and boundless generosity, dissolving into sunyata.
Heather, you remind me of Panyadeepa, kind of in the reverse, though. Panyadeepa wasn't like, he was very accepting of anybody. So you could be in his presence and you never felt judged. But you remind me of a person who's friendly. So someone can be in your presence and never judge. And so I named you Samago, which means whole and friendly. There's a wholeness in you that allows space in the room for others.
Elsie Fort. Elsie's statement, may I attain every perfection to rescue all from misfortune.
So I had given Elsie a name a few years ago, Nicosa, and it basically meant you were healed because she was broken when she came, and Elsie has done her work. So I took that name back, and I give you a new name today, Uttarana, which means crossing over. The last time I talked to Elsie, she said, all I want now is to attain Nibbana.
Julie Hope, Fortenberry.
I need to ask the sound guy all these sniffles, and can you get that out?
Julie Hope says, with the full understanding that I and I alone am responsible for whether or not I suffer, I go forth with the practice to suffer less and less.
So when I was thinking about Julie, this one took the longest. Not because it's bad, it's not bad. It took the longest because every time I called out her name, all I could see was a garland, like like a bride. But instead of having on a veil, she had these yellow flowers, a garland of yellow flowers. And I kept saying to them, I just keep getting yellow flowers. And they were like, I'd come up with names, and they say, no, something else. But I kept getting it. And so I decided to trust that. And I went with that. And your name is Agika, and it means a garland of flowers.
Sheila Garrett. Sheila's statement, I go forth with a service heart and the aspiration to live the teaching of Venerable Panyadeepa, to love everyone, all the time, everywhere. Knowing that internal affects external, it is my heartfelt intention to continue my cultivation to be a peacemaker in the world.
Knowing that internal affects external, I've named you Sanka Sayata, and it means keep still. If you know her. It will hold you.
Matthew Hahn. Matthew says, may I cultivate the joys of blamelessness, stillness, and wisdom. May I be a refuge for all beings, a safe haven for those who suffer.
So, Matt, the way this is written is apropos for you, but it wasn't really what I wanted. Okay, so we have to fix yours, and I'll try to fix it today. I named you Dharmacharya, and it means deliverer of a burden. And we talked about the things that you wanted to do, the people that you wanted to help, and how you saw your life. So coming in as the mighty deliverer and one of valor. But it's funny because here it says deliverance of a burden. And you might not know that he just had heart surgery. So he was delivered from a burden, but he's the deliverer, vanquisher of a burden.
Marika Maypop. Marika says, I go forth toward an ever more open and undefended heart. May this heart be a safe refuge for all whom and that I serve.
So I don't get these. What do you call it when they make their statement of intention? Right. I don't get these statements, so I don't know what their own statement is. I only know how I see them, how I have understood them over the last 2 years. But I named you Sabata Cheetah, and it means radiant heart. And the reason I did is like if you turn around, can you sense her stillness? She is so still that there's like it's and it just radiates. It radiates off of her. So when she gave her statement of intention, I just heard it. Um, it said something about a radiant heart, and I think we were struggling to find the right poly word that really expressed what we were trying to convey. But now I know this is absolutely the right one.
Maggie Munke. Maggie says, it is my intention to cultivate endless patience and boundless compassion. In each moment, I will love this too. I go forth with curiosity, generosity, and joy.
So look out there. Her name is Rosso, which means turn back around, which means essence of sweetness.
Fordham Murdy. His intention, walking out the Buddha Dharma by being a bodhisattva, cultivating beautiful bodhicitta, the aspiration to abide with wisdom and compassionate, skillful means, thus mindfully co-creating with the nature of reality, a living into the letting go of meditation.
Okay, so were you finished? Okay. Okay, so I don't feel bad now because of the name that I gave you. It's a little bit long. Okay. I might not even be able to pronounce it all, but it says what I wanted it to say. Ojo Sachakarati. Ojo Sachakarati, and it means to see the light face to face.
Dina Rushkover. Dina intends to be a light of joy, humor, equanimity, and love, a life of compassion in action. May I fade away into stardust, leaving behind a beautiful trail for others, grounded in the Dharma, pass on the torch.
So I've named Dina, and I named her before Pia Dita, which means loved, seen, and understood.
Olga Asher Reed. In Olga's words, my intention is to lead with love, learning what that truly means along the way. Keep my heart open, my mind discerning, and my soul curious as I live in service, self, love, and equanimity.
So it's been a journey with Olga. So timid, so mousy, afraid to speak up, to hold her space, not sure, hesitant. So I named her a Kaliko. You know, that's one of the attributes of the Buddha, right? And it means without delay, spontaneous. You know, so these glasses are a little bit troublesome, but I always know where they are because they stay on your head and they connect like that. So it's really good for somebody who's having memory issues.
Regina Seitz. Regina says, my intention is to be free so that absolutely nothing will hold me back from being fully loving and giving to situations whatever is needed, no matter what, and no strings attached.
So I have the most boring conversations with Regina because because she starts off with, uh, "I want to know if I'm doing it right." I want it's always that question, and I'm constantly reassuring her that she's doing it right. So I named you Patibanam, and it means confidence of wisdom. You're welcome.
Lisa's story. Lisa's intention: may I greet everyone I meet with the compassionate heart, remembering that your suffering is not separate from my suffering, and my happiness is not separate from your happiness.
It's this quality in Lisa that makes her lovely to behold. And so her name is Charu Dasana.
Michael Watkins. Michael says, may I continue to uncover and shine this radiant heart in all directions, inward and outward, with sincerity, courage, wisdom, gratitude, and peace. And may I be a light to help all beings uncover and shine their radiant hearts as well.
So, Michael, wow. It's this one's difficult. I needed help even finding his the name that I wanted for him, and then Matt and Christy, they were able to help me. That's why you have two. I had to finally, settle for this because I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, but they helped me find it today. And your name is um, Amadya Gita. And Amadya Gita means everyone's song. You can't just look up word, phrases like that to understand what they mean. There was a song that I love so much. It says that you are the face of God and I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. And that's how I think of Michael. And so it's why the words were so important to me. But it's not just me. You hold your heart open like that for everybody. Sorry if that took a long time. Let us conclude. Are we ready? We all right. Okay, so everybody can kind of stand up. I think most of us remember this song, and we where's my sister? Yeah, we're gonna rock out. Yeah. Do we have the song? Do we know it? Okay.
Let's do it. I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so special about that place. Even your emotions had an echo in so much space. Woo! When you're out there, like yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? You can clap and dance, it's okay. Does that make me crazy? Probably. Don't take photographs of me. Don't take pictures of me. Come on, Michael. Woo!
That's him right there.
So you think you're having the time of your life? Please think twice. That's the Buddha's advice. Making such a big deal of your plans and all of your goals. You really think you know? You think that you're in control? Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like me.
That's the frequency right there.
Here we go. My heroes had the heart to live life out on a limb. All I remember is thinking, I wanna be like them. Ever since I was little, I wanted to thrive. And it's no coincidence I've come to learn to die while alive. No, I'm not crazy. No, I'm not crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm just free. No, I'm not crazy. No, I'm not crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm just free. I'm just free. I'm free. Yeah. All right. That's it, huh? That's it.